Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to the voice of the times, brought to you this Monday, February 28, 2022, by Wilcon Depot, the country's leading home improvement and construction supplies retailer. Shop conveniently 24/7 with Wilcon online store. Just go to shop.wilcon.com.ph. For today's editorial, EJ Obiena deserves to be in SEA Games delegation. Excluding Ernest John EJ Obiena from the Southeast Asian Games or SEA Games goes beyond the slight to him and his supporters. It goes against Philippine interests and may justify nationalizing a National Sports Association or NSA that seems bent on pinning the blame on athletes for the mess created by its faulty financial management system. Even though this development was disappointing, it was hardly surprising. The row between Mr. Obiena and the Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association or PATAFA remains unresolved despite attempts at mediation. PATAFA initially alleged that Mr. Obiena did not pay his coach, despite having received funds for it. After that was disputed by the coach himself, PATAFA pressed that Mr. Obiena failed to liquidate public funds disbursed to him. And much to the athlete's chagrin, PATAFA has not walked back its allegations of estafa, despite several public testimonies, including sworn statements at a Senate hearing, contradicting those suspicions. As mentioned before in this space, PATAFA has yet to address its own faults. One is Mr. Obiena's claim that he had pleaded with PATAFA to pay his coach directly, but the request went unheeded. Second, the NSA has a complicated system, where it disbursed millions of pesos to Mr. Obiena, who is training in Italy where the currency is euros and liras. He had asked to be spared from financial management responsibilities so that he could focus on training. That would have also saved him from shouldering some 150,000 pesos in conversion fees and from doing loads of paperwork required in regulating foreign currencies. Beyond bragging rights, Mr. Obiena carries on, even as the release of fresh funding, approved by the Philippine Sports Commission, has been stalled by PATAFA as it reviews this request. He recently won his second gold medal in less than 2 weeks in separate European indoor track and field tournaments. Medals won in athletic events bolster national pride, especially for a small country like the Philippines. Filipinos beamed with pride, for instance, when weightlifter Hidilyn Diaz won the country's first Olympic gold medal in Tokyo. Sports heroes also inspire younger Filipinos to compete in various fields of endeavor, and such accolades boost the country's image worldwide and expand its influence. In other words, medals and other achievements in sports contribute to a country's soft power. Because of that, Mr. Obiena, who ranks 5th in the world in pole vaulting, should be nurtured and protected. His success in Europe is a promising sign that the Philippines could win even more gold medals in the SEA Games and perhaps break records. This early, sports fans are even looking forward to his performance in the 2024 Paris Olympics. In fairness to other Filipino athletes, the Philippines is unlikely to go empty-handed at the SEA Games. Filipinos won 149 medals at the last Games, including 19 golds and silvers in track and field. But remember that the last Games were in the Philippines, and the host country typically holds an advantage in the medal tally. As the next SEA Games host, Vietnam has selected the sporting events. As expected, every host country, including the Philippines in 2019, handpicks events that give it an advantage. With that setup, some predict that the Philippines will be lucky to take home 50 medals this year. Of course, we hope that Filipino athletes exceed those expectations. As mentioned earlier, medals represent more than bragging rights. Meanwhile, PATAFA seems ready to forfeit a chance to win more medals. To be fair, we heard that it might reconsider its position on Mr. Obiena. And with the Games opening in May, the Philippines has about 3 weeks to add him to the national pool so that he can compete in Vietnam. If nothing changes, however, it may be insufficient to make PATAFA answer for opportunity losses suffered by the Philippines and for behavior that seems incongruent with the national interest. Given such stakes, the government should consider taking over that NSA. As the Philippine Olympic Committee asked, how many more medals does Mr. Obiena need to win to be reinstated in the national pool? And that's the editorial for Monday, February 28, 2022. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.